Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the technical session 1 of ICULA 2021. I would like to invite the chairpersons for this session, Mrs. T.N. Naizuri, librarian of Sabrahma University of Sri Lanka, and Mrs. M.P.P. Dilhani, senior assistant librarian, PGIM, University of Colombo. Madam, it's over to you now. We will wait some more time until she gets ready. I think she has joined with us.
Madam, I think you need to unmute.
Hello. Am I audible to you?
Yes, madam, you are audible. You can speak.
Hello.
Yes, madam, we can hear you. You can speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Okay. Right. So may I start then?
Sure, madam.
Okay.
You can start now.
Okay. So thank you. First of all, I would like to greet you. Good afternoon. And I would like to thank you for the organizing team of ICULA to invite me to attend as a chairman for the technical session 1. My dear participants, the members of the organizing committee, distinguished guests, invitees, dear ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. I warmly welcome you all to the technical session scheduled from International Conference of University Librarians Association, ICULA. Behalf of the organizing team of ICULA, first of all, I would like to welcome the beautiful lady, Mrs. Dilhani, my colleague, who is the Senior Assistant Librarian from Postgraduate Institute of Medicine, Sri Lanka, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. And I warmly welcome the participants and the researchers, those who are going to present their valuable research findings today. I would like to wish you all the best. Today, this session will be a very productive and will be a remarkable day for you all. I invite you all to share your valuable knowledge among the members of the library science field. So please enjoy this session and gain your knowledge to develop the field of library science. Now, there are 6 presenters supposed to be present their papers at today's technical session. This technical session is for the theme of open access and scholarly publishing. Each presenter will be allocated less than 10 minutes for their presentation. According to the schedule, the time has been allocated for questioning and answering after the 6 presenters completed their presentations. I humbly request the presenters to be here for answering to the audience to make aware them. Then we will start our technical session now. Ms. Dilhani, you can invite the first presenter. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Our first speaker is Mr. SLM Sajir, who will be talking about utilization of open access resources among the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. This is your time, Mr. Sajir.
Welcome all. 11th International Conference of University Librarians, Association of Sri Lanka. Theme: Scholarly Publishing of Open Access for the Enhancement of Research Visibility. My topics: utilization of open access resource among the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. I am S.L. Muhammad Sajir, Senior Assistant Librarian, Mr. A.M. Nafis, Senior Assistant Librarian, Mr. B.S. Bantara, Assistant Librarian, Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Research outline. Research topic, the research problem, background for the study, objective of the study, research design and methods, results and discussion, conclusion and recommendation, reference list. Research topic: utilization of open access resource among the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Independent variable utilization, dependent variable open access resource. Study population among the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Research problem: academic staff need to develop their open access resource and identifying how to improve them to guide their student effectively. This is the major problem to be addressed via this study. The researchers who found that only few number of academic staff, those surveyed, provide access to open access resources. Despite the potentiality of open access resources in academic productivity, this is not yet fully exploited. While analyzing the open access scholarly communication in Southeastern University, stressed that, like in many other developing countries, accessing and disseminating scholarly content. It is on the basis of the above that the study intends to find out the extent to which is academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka utilize open access resources for their academic productivity. Background for the study: open access resources means that is the resource that anyone can use and can be obtained without restriction at any time. Therefore, it was intended to assess the influence level of open access resources on the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Presently, the university is operating with 6 faculties and library. According to the researchers' target group are Faculty of Arts and Cultures, Faculty of Management and Commerce, Faculty of Applied Science, Faculty of Islamic Studies and Arabic Language, Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Technology. Objective of the study: to discover the purpose of using open access resource in Southeastern University of Sri Lanka academia, to identify the problem associated with the use of open access resources, to examine the tools used to get awareness of open access resources by research scholars. Research design and methods. Survey method was used to study usage of open access resource. A structure, a questionnaire was designed and distributed to Google Form among the academic staff at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. The researchers used Kirgis Morgan 1970 tables to determine the sample size. The population is 210 academic staff and statistical purposes sample technique was used. Select the sample which consists of 136 academic staff as the study sample. Academic total population 210. I was select 4 type: bachelor's, master's, doctorate, professor. There is overall 79 bachelor's. I was select 37 statistical purposes sampling technique. Masters 68 to 54, doctorate 44 to 32, prof 19 to 13. Kirgis and Morgan 1970 tables. I was selected 210 to 136. 136 study population, analyze and conclusion. There is a source. Kirgis, Morgan and 1970 tables. They have a population. I was selected 210 to 136. Design and methods. Academic rank, number of respondents, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, professor. Overall total 136. There is a number of respondents. Professors 10%, bachelor 27%, doctorate 23%. Most of the response masters 40%. Utilization of open access resource. Gender: male, female. Number of respondents: male 96, female 40s. Total overall 136. There is a female responding, female 29%, male 71%. Data analyzing. Statistical package for open access SPSS version 23 was used to analyze data. The questionnaire was prepared to collect data pertaining to Google form among the response utilization level toward open access resources. Results and discussion. The assessed result of the academic staff indicated significant improvement in the average score from the questionnaire. In conclusion, open access resources can be observed by the male staff as those who can follow the master's degree have enhanced the skill and knowledge of the academic staff. Open access is global effort to provide free online access to scientific and academic research literature. Scholars understand the availability of open access, but many people use it supplementary way using information. Utilization of open access resource. There's a graph. They have a Google search engine 30.91% more access the Google search engine. Second one is email 28.26. Third one is social media and library website, both are 27.25. Conclusion and recommendation. The survey of awareness, usage and among academic researchers indicates their positive attitude towards open access resources. The depends on open access resources increasing day to day, and academic researchers too are depending more and more open access resources. The usage level substantiate effort made by open access resources, managing institutions and libraries in creating awareness and marketing them. Open access scholarly publishing mandates showcase the paradigm shift in scholarly communication practices. The paradigm shift of the scholarly publishing be mandate in academic staff in futures. References. Thank you for listening. Any question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sajid. And it is very informative presentation. And well, I cordially invite the second presenter, Mr. R.A.S.P.S. Senaviratna, Senior Assistant Librarian at Main Library, University of Ruhuna, Sri Lanka. He is going to present about, the title is Public Library Services in the Time of Pandemic, a special reference to the public libraries in Mathura district. So this is over to you, sir.
Hi everyone, I am Sakuntala Senaviratna, Senior Assistant Librarian, University of Ruhuna. Co-author of this research, Mr. Kusala Fernando, Senior Assistant Librarian, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Our research topic is Public Library Services in the Time of Pandemic, a special reference to the public libraries in Mathura district. This is content of the presentation. Introduction. Public libraries serve as the focal point of providing information needs of all levels of the society, irrespective of the social, financial, or any other barriers. Public libraries are one of the main pillars that needs to be strengthened by the local authorities to bridge the information gaps of a country. It can ensure the information democracy of the country by bridging the information gap, respecting the social and economic boundaries. Global pandemic lockdown situation have been challenging the libraries around the globe by limiting its services and led the libraries to find new dimension of information dissemination and remote learning. Objective of this study to investigate online services provided by the public libraries of Mathura district during the COVID lockdown period from 2020 to 2021. Methodology of this research, the target group of the study was public librarians in Mathura district, Sri Lanka, which presenting 38 public libraries. A survey method was used for data collection. A structured paper and pencil-based questionnaire were distributed among all the public librarians via email and registered post. The percentage of the respondent was 50%. Figure 1 showing mediums of public library services provided before the pandemic situation. 8 types of services medium were identified from public libraries that were conducted before the COVID pandemic situation. Most popular method was provided required services over the phone. Only 4% of the libraries have used website to provide remote services, as well as Facebook, WhatsApp and Viber were used largely, while 7% of the libraries used emails to provide the required services before the pandemic situation. Let's see mediums of public library services provided during the pandemic situation. Result revealed that there are 3 new types of services introduced by several public libraries. Patron inquiry services, information services for schoolers, and education information services. As well as the other before pandemic services were continued by the libraries with slight improvement in email services, social media services, as well as remote awareness services. This donut showing limiting factors to provide public library services during the pandemic. Respondents from the public libraries also highlighted 4 major limitations met while providing the remote services during the pandemic situation. Lack of support and top management commitment is the mostly reported limiting factor, while lack of knowledge was reported only by 7 public libraries. Intention of patrons of access the library during the pandemic was also identified by 10 libraries as a major factor that not promoted remote services during the pandemic. Recommendations. Public libraries in the country should have more attention from the higher authorities and must be equipped and with adequate technological knowledge and infrastructure. Public libraries can either mimic the academic libraries in the country or associate their patrons with these national level remote services. As well as policymakers and planners should take necessary steps to create a nationwide library network that shares the country resources, provide the common platform and form a national technological team to assist public libraries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Seneviratna. It's a nice presentation and very interesting. So, shall we move for the third presenter, Ms. Dilhani? Please, can you invite?
Yes. Third presenter is Mrs. MP Lakmini Rajika Marasinghe. She will talk about development and validation of a tool to predict information seeking behavior of medical undergraduates of Sri Lanka. This is your time, Mrs. Marasinghe.
My study is based on development and validation of a tool to predict information seeking behavior of medical undergraduates Sri Lanka. And this is the outline of my presentation. And information seeking behavior can be defined as seeking information purposefully as a consequence of need to satisfy some goals. And there are several models used in information seeking behavior. For example, Robert Taylor model, Wilson model, Ellis and ISB model, Wakari's task-based model, Foster nonlinear model. In this study, I focused on integrated behavioral model developed by Fish, Bain and Addison in 2010. It is a combination of two theories, theory of reason action and theory of planned behavior. This is the structure of the integrated behavioral model. According to this, the intention is the major determinant of the behavior. Attitude, perceived norm, personal agency are the three factors affected for the intention. And the knowledge and skills, salience, environmental constraint, habit are the four factors affected for the behavior. According to the Davies, there are 8 steps in scale development process. First one is clearly determining the content of the scale. Next, generating an item pool. Determine the format for measurement. Then reviewing the item pool by experts and considering the inclusion of validation items. Then administering the tool, evaluating the items, and then finally optimizing the scale length. The psychometric properties of the scale is very important in the scale development process. The scale reliability and scale validity are the psychometric properties. Under scale reliability, there are 3 subcategories: test, retest reliability, internal consistency, iterator reliability. Scale validity can be subdivided into 3: content validity, criterion related validity, and construct validity. The research problem of my study is the information seeking behavior of medical undergraduates cannot be accurately measured or predicted without developing a validated tool. The general objective of my study is to develop and validate a tool to measure the information seeking behavior of medical undergraduates in Sri Lanka. And the specific objectives are to define the elements of information seeking behavior, to determine a suitable theoretical model to predict information seeking behavior, and to develop a tool and to establish reliability and validity for measuring the information seeking behavior of medical undergraduates. There are 3 phases in my study, and medical students in 4 medical faculties were selected. The universities are University of Kelaniya, Colombo, Eastern University, and University of Peradeniya. In phase 1 of the study, it is an exploratory qualitative study. The focus group discussions were carried out by focusing final year medical students who are in the academic year 2011 and 12. And then the focus group discussions were audio recorded and transcribed verbatim. And then the thematic analysis was carried out, and the literature review was carried out to select a suitable theoretical model to predict the information seeking behavior. And based on the selected theoretical model, statements or the items were developed. In the phase 2, it's a cross-sectional observational study. The preliminary questionnaire was drafted and it was pre-tested by focusing 30 medical undergraduates and 15 academic staff members in University of California, and it was refined and then reviewed by experts, and the questionnaire was administered to the final fourth year medical students who are in the academic year 2011 and 13. The data was subjected to confirmatory factor analysis and internal consistency. In phase 3, it's also a cross-sectional observational study. The finally developed questionnaire in phase 2 was administered to the fourth year medical students who are in the academic year 2013 and 14. And the data was subjected to confirmatory factor analysis and internal consistency. Research and discussion. In phase 1, 11 themes were identified for information-seeking behavior. They are conceptualization of information-seeking behavior, information need, facilitators, strategies of information-seeking behavior, comparison of information-seeking behavior with the academic year, time and place of information-seeking behavior, barriers, dilemmas, devices used for seeking information, mode of finding information, suggestions to improve the information-seeking behavior. Fishbane's integrated behavioral model was selected as the theoretical model, and 60 items were developed, and 27 items for intention, 10 items for environmental constraints, 7 items for salience, 9 for habit, and 7 for knowledge and skill. In phase 2, the overall response rate was 66.76%. The internal consistency was analyzed in 2 steps. In the final step, the overall internal consistency is acceptable reliability. According to the model fit indices estimated in CFA, it was done in 3 steps. In the final step, the RMECA supports for the model fit, but SRMR, CFI, and TLI do not support for the model fit. This is the development of the scale. In phase 1, the scale has 60 items, and 1 items were removed because of the ambiguity, and developed 59 items in the step 1 of the phase 2 of the study, and 18 items were removed because of the confirmatory factor analysis from 59 item scale, and developed 41 item scale, and then 1 item was removed because of the internal consistency, and finally developed 40 item scale. In phase 3, the overall response rate was 70%, 0.8%. And the model fit indices estimated in CFA, both RMSEA and SRMR have good model fit, and but CFI, TLI do not support for the model fit. According to the internal consistency, the overall internal consistency was acceptable for reliability, and the finally developed validated scale has 40 items. 10 items for intention, 9 for environmental constraint, 7 for salience, 8 for habit, and 6 items for knowledge and skills. As the conclusion, all components of the integrated behavioral model are applicable to information-seeking behavior, and 40 items tool, which has been developed to assess the information-seeking behavior of medical undergraduates, was with acceptable validity and reliability. The integrated behavioral model can be used to determine the information-seeking behavior of the medical undergraduates successfully. As recommendations, the tool should be used to identify the best practices in information-seeking for better academic achievements. The tool can be used both nationally and internationally to improve its construct validity. These are my references. And thank you.
Madam, you need to unmute.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lakmini. It's a nice presentation, so we enjoyed. And I would like to cordially invite the next presenter, Dr. R.A.S.R. Ranavira, Senior Assistant Librarian, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. His field of study is user survey on online library resources and services during the COVID-19 pandemic, a case of University of Kelaniya. So I invite Dr. Ranavira. This is for your time.
Good afternoon to all. This presentation is about the user survey on online library resources and services offered by the library, University of Kelaniya during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a joint research with two of my colleagues, Ms. Prathipa De Silva and Ms. Sajivani Rubasingha. I will continue my presentation under these topics. As we all know, the COVID-19 has become a global challenge and it affects the day-to-day lives of people, including business, education, health, transportation and careers. In Sri Lanka, island-wide curfew, temporary closure down and lockdown situation were occurred time to time to limit the spread of the virus within the country. Because of these preventive measures and restrictions, higher education sector was drastically affected. Though universities were physically remained closed to students and teachers, the learning and teaching process continue within the universities by using online teaching methods. University libraries also shifted their services more towards digital and virtual platforms to serve the academic community of the university. While the university libraries remained closed, services such as OPAC, digitalization and of the collection, electronic databases with remote access were offered by the library to support the online and teaching process. This study reflects the user opinion on library resources and services offered by the University of Kelaniya Library during the COVID-19 pandemic. We have conducted our research with these objectives. First, to explore the user satisfaction on online library resources and services offered by the Library University of Kelaniya during the COVID-19 pandemic. Secondly, to identify the frequently used online library resources and services. Thirdly, to find out the challenges and barriers which users encountered while using the library resources during the pandemic. And finally, to provide suggestions to improve the current level of services offered by the Library, University of Kelaniya. We have selected 3 faculties of the university for our study. Our study population consisted with 5,460 undergraduates. Based on the Tracy and Morgan sample determination table, 357 undergraduates were selected as our study sample, and we have limited to 3 faculties, which is Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, Computing and Technology and Humanities. Also, we have selected only the undergraduates for our study, and convenient sampling method and descriptive research approach was utilized for this study. We have used survey questionnaire as our research instrument. We have used Google Online form to send out the questionnaire to the respondents. Survey questionnaire was consisted with 3 sections. We have sent out 264 questionnaires to the. We have returned 264 questionnaires with the return response rate of 74%. Gathered data were analyzed. the gathered data were descriptively analyzed and presented according to the research objectives. Based on the study findings, we have found out that the majority of the sample represent the female undergraduates, which is 67.8%, and the highest number of students represent the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, which is 72.7%, and 37.1% of the sample represent the first year undergraduates. Our first research objective was to explore the overall user satisfaction on library services and resources offered by the Library University of Kelaniya during the pandemic situation, and we have found that 48% of the respondents were satisfied with our services, and 11% were very satisfied with the services and resources offered by the library during the pandemic. However, 28% were dissatisfied with the online library services and resources offered by the library during the pandemic. Our second research objective was to find out the mostly used resources of the library during the pandemic, which was past papers repository. 74.6% of the undergraduate were said that they are using past papers repository for their study purposes, while 58.3% use ebooks, 42.5% of the respondents used e-journals, while least used library resource was UOK repository, which is 23.4%. Challenges, and when it comes to the challenges and barriers which users encountered while using the online library and resources during the pandemic was access difficulties due to technical issues, which is 58.3%, and 10.3% of the users said they are having language difficulties while using the online library resources, and 7% said they are not aware of the online library resources and services offered by the library, while 3% of the respondents were saying like the staff assistant is not sufficient for their studies during the pandemic. And based on the findings of our research, we have concluded that the University of Kelaniya Library has played a significant role in providing the information for the undergraduates during the pandemic period. To improve the better service, we have some suggestions. Library must conduct more user awareness program and training sessions to aware the users on library services and resources. Also, collecting of user feedback regarding the online library services and resources in a regular manner is much important. That information, library can use that information to plan their future activities and programs. Finally, improve the infrastructure facilities such as electricity and telecommunication will help users to connect with library resources and services without technical interruption, and this will definitely help to increase the library services and facilities among the undergraduates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dr. Anavira. This is really a nice presentation. This is a timely need information for us. We appreciate it during this pandemic situation to make aware the library services. It is really important. It is a good presentation. So thank you so much. Then I would like to call upon this fifth presenter, I cordially invite Mr. U. Mohammed Faush, Library Information Assistant, Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. His title is Information Seeking Behavior of E-Resources by Undergraduates, a case study of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. This is the time for you.
Welcome to all participants, academics and ICULA committee members to the 11th International Conference of University Librarians Association of Sri Lanka. I am U. Mohammed Faush, Library Information Assistant, Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. My conference topic is Information Seeking Behavior of E-Resources by Undergraduates, a case study of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. So I will present about how information seeking behavior of electronic resources by the undergraduates. The topic introduction is electronic resources are stored electronically and retrieved through the electronic system and computer networks. These resources included OPEC, CD-ROM, online databases, e-journals, e-books, internet resources, etc. Frequently, electronic resources provide current information and updated. One of the researchers, Brian, defined in 2021 about electronic resources. Southeastern University Library was established in 1995. There are 6 faculties available there. Library serving for these 6 faculties. Library gives conducive learning environment, facilities and good services to the users. Library provides variety of services to the users like issue and return, online renewal and reservation, and searching library materials through the OPEC. Statement of problems. Identifying factors influencing electronic information seeking behavior of students. What kind of challenges or barriers when using electronic resources? They are effectively using available electronic resources for academic and information needs. Objective of the study: to examine the factors influencing and challenges faced when using electronic information resources by the final year management students of the Faculty of Management and Commerce of the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Research design and methods. Research tool is questionnaire. Population is 50 students. I took all 50 students for the sample size. This study is quantitative. I was using Excel for data analysis. Questionnaire had used for collecting information from the students for the purpose of visiting, facing challenges or barriers. What are the factors influencing when seeking e-information, library facilities and infrastructure. Research model. There are dependent and independent variables there. Dependent variable is e-resources usage. There are 4 independent variables. Those are available e-resources, user competency, library facilities and infrastructure. Also, each independent variables have sub-variables. Result and discussion. Target 50 students. Among them, 70% of students are responded. Within that, 60% of female students and 40% of male students. Available electronic resources. 30% of students are using electronic journals. Others are using e-databases, e-books and etc. User competency. More than 74% of participants good knowledge in searching e-resources. Few students need guidance and awareness about searching databases. Mostly students have high computer self-efficacy. Also searching electronic databases. Library facilities. 63% of participants satisfied with internet Wi-Fi facilities available in the library, and most of the participants using library website also, and 80% of participants satisfied with the help of library staff. Infrastructure. Most of the students satisfied that available IT facilities and also satisfied with environment, opening time, network facilities, and furniture. Also provide remote access facilities. Conclusion: most of the participants satisfied with the cleaning, opening and closing time and environment. Even though few students less satisfaction in the services. Majority of the participants satisfied with facilities available in the section. Similarly, few students facing challenges such as difficult to search and download, and also lack of training and a language barrier. Most of the students visited to the library website for searching electronic resources. A few of them not visited. Recommendation: following matters need to be corrected. Slow internet connection, difficult to find relevant information, overloading view or download pages, privacy problems, login problems, and upgrading software. Important to improve of IT infrastructure facilities, networks, computers and furniture. Environment is very important for user learning. Need to increase the budget for subscribing more electronic resources. Need to take feedback services from the users. It will help to develop electronic resources section. Need to provide printing facilities that they needed e-information retrieve. References. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Faust. And it is really a good presentation. So we are waiting for the final presenter. Now that is this time is for her. Ms. Dilhani, can you invite her? Yes. Please.
Yes. I cordially invite to M. Indrani from Tamil Nadu to talk about scientometric study on fossil fuel scholarly publications. This is your time, Ms. Indrani.
My greetings to all the organizers and participants of 11th International Conference of University Librarians Association of Sri Lanka. I am M. Indrani, working as assistant professor in Sri Jiviji Visalakshi College for Women, Udmalpet, Tamil Nadu, India. My topic of presentation is Scientometric Study on Fossil Fuel Scholarly Publications, a Global Perspective. Fossil fuels are nothing but all energy sources like petroleum, oil, coal, and other sources like natural gas, which are non-renewable in nature and which are created when primitive organisms expired and were slowly buried under the earth. Over the few decades, most of the emissions due to human activity came from the burning of fossil fuels. The government allotted divisions for energy production. They always retain sufficient petroleum reserves and try to produce accountable growth and expansion of oil and natural gas resources and implements rigid liabilities over them. Also, researchers around the globe who are involved in fossil fuel exploration are developing technologies to decrease carbon emissions and attempts to see that fossil fuel energy sources play a significant role in global clean energy future. Fossil fuels occupy an important part of current life and trade and will continue to be so for at least next 10 to 20 years. A shift to cleaner, more safe energy source is required to bring down global warming. Presently, renewable energy is growing fast, but still it is at a distant place to substitute fossil fuel energy sources. And my research problem is fossil sources for meeting our energy demands. Having realized the importance of fossil fuels in our daily life, the author has chosen this topic for the study to know the quantitative details of research that is carried out around the world on this field. Objectives of the study includes to find out the renowned institutions around the world doing research on fossil fuels, to highlight the significance of fossil fuels, to show how dependent are we to fossil fuels, to make people realize that burning of fossil fuels is one of the main causes for air pollution and climate change, to make people understand that it is high time that we should shift to alternate energy sources. The research method includes collection of data on fossil fuels from the Web of Science database. The search string fossil fuels was given to collect the data. A total of 18,131 literature outputs were identified for the period of study. To evaluate the research publications of fossil fuels, parameters like relative growth rate, doubling time, trend line analysis, such as exponential growth model and R-squared value in statistical tools were used. The results and discussion includes the maximum number of, that is 84.05% of the articles were journal articles and they topped the list or ranked first. Out of 10,416 funding agencies, the maximum number of 483 research articles was published by National Natural Science Foundation from China, and a minimum number of 69 publications on fossil fuels was funded by European Union during the period of study. The most productive source title was Renewable Sustainable Energy Reviews with 829 publications out of 18,131 articles and has occupied first rank. The most productive country was United States with 4,841 research articles and got first rank, and India has ranked fifth position with 943 research papers among the top 10 countries. My conclusion and recommendations for the study is the sources that supply fossil fuels are limited and hence would become exhausted after some time. Therefore, the present study on fossil fuels made us realize that we should gradually shift to other renewable energy sources, which has less impact on fossil fuels. Researchers working on fossil fuels should focus on other alternate energy sources. More funding has to be contributed by every nation for doing research on alternate energy sources. There is more to be explored on the emerging areas of biofuels. Countries should collaborate among themselves in capitalizing the alternate energy sources. Some of the references are listed here. Thank you all for your patient listening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Indrani. We highly appreciate your participation of this session. We are seeking to have more about the field of scientometric research work in future. Your presentation is very attractive and informative. So I would like to say that actually it is really, you took us for a new avenue. It's really nice. And now the session for presentation is over. Now this forum is for questioning and answering. Anybody can make questions, so the presenters can answer for all these questions. Thank you. So is there any questions, please?
First, we will move to first presentation. So are there any questions?
Yes, good afternoon, madam. That this is Pradeep, Senior Assistant Librarian, Wawelasa University. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to ask questions. That I have a question. So from Miss Sakundala, University of Ruhuna. Shall I ask my question?
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Right. So Shagundala, that since it is regarding the population and sampling on your research area, my question is, since the respondent rate is only 50% in your research, how extent the generalization of findings will reflect for getting any solution? So since you are, yes, you can, I think you got the point what I am expecting.
Actually, there are only 38 libraries. I mentioned 50%. Actually, it is wrong. It should be 60% respondent rate.
But you mean the 50% is wrong? That you have
Yes,
the mistake, right? Okay, then okay. That you can explain that should be the 60% to everyone. Then it will be clear for the audience.
Actually, very sorry. It is my mistake.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Kundala. Thank you, madam. That's all.
Okay, welcome. So any question, any other questions, please? I would like to ask a question from Dr. Ranavira. Can you briefly explain what are the challenges and barriers encountered from your research during this pandemic?
Madam Nesuri, we have found out that access difficulty in terms of technical issues is the main barrier for the users when they are using library. And also another challenge was the language difficulty. Because most of our journals articles are written in English language, so that might be the reason they are mentioning that language difficulty. Also, we have found out that the necessary recommended reading and past papers also not there. That is also another issue. And also lack of awareness and lack of awareness and insufficient staff assistance. Also, we have found out the reason for using the library and resources during the pandemic.
Okay. So any other unique
The
challenges?
main reason is the technical difficulty.
Sorry?
Sorry?
Yeah, any other challenges that you are facing as a unique item for University of Cannoneer? I just want to find that. Any other, now these are the common.
Actually, we focus our research only to we do our research from the point of view of the users, madam. Anyhow, during the pandemic situation, we have done a great job, I think, to disseminating knowledge. Like we have digitalized some of our collections, and we have 5 subject lists and librarians, and we are working 24/7. Like we are giving our services through emails and chat services over the phone, and also we do not face any much great difficulty.
Okay, Dr. Anavira, thank you so much. Any other questions, please?
Thank you.
Now the time is up. I think so. Is there anyone to ask any question from any person? It will be welcome. Then I think it is okay. So we will wrap up this session. So I would like to congratulate you all. I think we all got some valuable ideas, the innovative and informative things, what they presented without any hesitation. As librarians, we are very proud of you to do such presentation here, which is very remarkable at International Conference on University Librarians Association 2021. Moreover, we would like to invite you for the next ICULA to come up with some more piece of research work, innovative ideas, concepts, etc. So to gain the knowledge dissemination, this kind of forum would be very important. In many aspects, you can do presentations, so it will be very, very important to us. So thank you again to being with us to make colorful this conference. I wish you to stay safe and God bless you. And finally, I would like to thank again to the ICULA team, organizing team, to give this opportunity to both of us, Mrs. Dilhani and to me, to chair this session. I think it is really successfully we did. And thank you so much, the team, again and again. I wish you all the best and congratulations for all the participants and all the audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Welcome.
And we stay in our
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you all to the plenary session of 11th International Conference of University Librarians Association of Sri Lanka. This plenary session is based on the theme of scholarly publishing and open access for the enhancement of research visibility, and will be moderated by Mr. M. Norman Ravi Kumar, Senior Assistant Librarian, Eastern University, Sri Lanka. To enlighten us on this topic, we have a very eminent panel of speakers present here with us. May I welcome Dr. Mrs. N.D. Vijayasundara, Librarian, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Dr. C.C. Jayasundara, Librarian, University of Kelaniya, and Dr. Mrs. Namali Suravira, Acting Librarian, ICCMS Senior Lecturer, Head, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kelaniya. Now, may I invite Mr. Ravi Kumar to proceed the plenary session. Over to you.
Dear professionals, scholars, participants, and my dear friends. Once again, I welcome you all to the plenary session of ICULA 2021. As you are aware, the information centers and libraries are closed for physical access to users due to the COVID pandemic all over the world. However, the information professionals and librarians are taking the major role in disseminating required information for the research and publication using various modes of communication, especially through the online platform now. So in this scenario, the organizers of ICULA have chosen a timely topic that is scholarly publishing and open access for the enhancement of research visibility for today's discussion. As librarian, we need to do research and publication to upgrade our academic qualities, which is very much important for the development of librarianship in the country. At the same time, we must support other academics to do their research by educating them on scholarly publication, open access, and how to make their research visible to others. It's maybe nationally as well as globally, because it will enhance the research productivity of an institution. And ultimately, this will take up the institution to the next level. Yes, today we will discuss more about this topic. So we have three eminent scholars for this discussion. Let me introduce them. Our first speaker, Dr. Nayana Vijayasundara, librarian, University of Sri Jawatanapura, and also immediate past president of Sri Lanka Library Association. The second speaker, Dr. Chaminda Jayasundara, librarian, University of Kelaniya. And the third speaker, Dr. Namali Suravira, senior lecturer, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kelaniya. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. Nayana Vijayasundara to share her thoughts with us. Madam, it's over to you now.
Thank you, Ravi. Am I audible?
Yes, madam, you're audible.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. So after hearing a lot of fruitful sessions in the morning, we have come to the plenary session. It is like repeating the same that we heard in the morning, but we will sum up what we have to say. Okay, we do research and we want to disseminate our findings. One way of doing that is publishing. You can publish in many places, like books, journals, and in conference proceedings, reports, theses and dissertations. You can disseminate your research findings. But the most popular way of publishing is in journals, that is very popular among us. So when you're submitting your first manuscript or manipulating the whole lot, you need to make confident decisions in today's scholarly publishing landscape. You need to understand a journal's role within and influence upon the global research community. In other words, you would be able to identify good quality or legitimate journals and so-called predatory journals. Predatory journals are also called pseudo-journals, fake journals, deceptive journals, and opportunistic journals. Simply, modus operandi of a journal is important before publishing. When researchers want to publish their work, sometimes they seek the advice from librarians, their supervisors, mentors, seniors, and peers. They want to find out how to find out good quality journals, because they want to publish their work with reliable publishers and to make maximum visibility to their work. So we librarians want to make them aware of reputed publishers and to sensitize researchers on predatory journals. There are certain criteria to judge good quality journals and predatory journals. In doing this, you need transparent, publisher-neutral data and statistics. This can be done by exploring a rich array of metrics. These metrics include the very recent one. Today morning, one of the keynote speakers, as well as a presentation, research presentation was done on alt metrics, the very recent one. And previously, we used journal impact factor, site score, field weighted citation impact, top readership, review time, and many more depending on each publisher. These metrics can be found in reputed abstracting and indexing services, SciMago Journal Rank, and in journal citation reports. There are journal citation reports for each journal. Using these journal citation report profile pages, you can check your journal's impact factor. Impact factor depends on the number of citations to a particular journal. Each of these cited references in a scholarly publication is an acknowledgement of influence, how your research was influenced within the community or within the society. Through these journal citation reports, you can gain a clear understanding of the context surrounding your journal's impact factor with time trend and citation distribution visualizations. Further, you can quickly determine which institutions and regions contribute to your journal's impact factor based on the affiliations of your contributing authors. Also, you can identify which articles and reviews have contributed the most citations to your journal's impact factor. You can easily identify the open access articles in your hybrid journals. We think that high impact factor journals are good. Yes, but not always because of these predatory publishers. They sometimes claim false impact factors. They make self-citations of their journals to increase the impact factor. On the other hand, we cannot say that a journal is in inferior quality just because of having a low impact factor. We all know that the impact factor for a particular year is calculated using the number of citations of the previous 2 years. So a particular journal has to be in existence for a particular period. And there are certain subject areas, they have very small audience. So the number of citations will be very less. In turn, it will affect the impact factor. So always don't judge by the impact factor only. So on the other hand, predatory publishers, most of them, they don't have online submission facility. Instead, they ask you to email your article. And most of the journal titles are very similar to that of reputed journal titles. And sometimes they use non-existing geographical regions like Americas in the title, right? And they don't give most of the, if you go to a site of a particular predatory journal website, you don't find author guidelines, and they don't review the peer review process. And sometimes they don't have an editorial board. Instead, they have only one editor. And if they have many, they are also from one institution. So likewise, they promise fast publishing dates. Within 2-3 days, your manuscript is accepted and published also. So how can a review process go, complete within 2 or 3 days? That is impossible, right? That's how they make money. Their main aim is to make money. Predatory publishers, they make money by charging you as getting your article processing charges. And this charge is also vary. If you communicate with them, they reduce the charge. They give a discount, like sometimes they feel, they inform us, just give what you have in your pocket, like, right? So many more things that to judge whether this is by looking at the website to see whether a predatory journal or a good quality journal. The extent to which predatory journals can harm scientific practice increases as the number of such journals expand. They undermine science integrity, quality, and credibility, especially when those journals leak into prestigious databases. Predatory publishers sow confusion, promote shoddy scholarship, and waste resources. Publishing in predatory journals not only devalues the prestige of the author, but it can contribute to the propagation of errors with all the consequences that may entail, not only at the scientific level, but as the social level as well. Think of a medical journal article published in a predatory journal. It goes not only to the subject experts, but to patients as well. That's why the danger comes into the society. It is very difficult to depend on lists prepared on predatory journals. One thing, they need to update regularly as the number of journals are mushrooming. On the other hand, we know that certain reputed publishers also include predatory journals in their list without judging carefully, and vice versa can also happen. There are support services like journal finders, quality journals. But my suggestion is that try to learn to give the final judgment of publication legitimacy for your work by you. So I reiterate what Dr. Vijay Tunga mentioned in her keynote speech. Don't become a prey to a predator. Over to you, Ravi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam, for sharing your views with us. It was very interesting and informative, and also you have covered a lot of things regarding the publishing articles in the journal. I'm also totally agree with that. I hope everyone will agree with you. Judging the journals by using impact factors and identifying the journals where we can publish. So those are very useful for, especially for the young academics. Okay, so now I kindly invite Dr. Chaminda Jayasundara to share his experience and ideas with us. Sir, it's over to you. Sir, could you please unmute? Sir, please unmute.
Sorry. Thank you, Ravi, for inviting me to speak a few words regarding the publication and publication process and unethical practices over here. Dr. Vijay Sundara has spoken about how to find predatory publications, and why do we need to select good publications and that kind of things, very much. But in addition to that, I must say, publishing in predatory journal makes people degraded. Actually, the quality of the people will certainly be degraded because of their publications in predatory journals, because none of the publication is accepted in the academia if you have published in predatory journals. So in addition to publishing articles in predatory journals, it in turn introduce zombification of the science. It means that what we have found is not acceptable. Anything what we have what we have written will be accepted by these predatory publications. Then it will adversely affect the quality of the body of knowledge what we have around this world. So the people, those who are publishing, the academia is the people, those who are publishing in predatory journals are called zombie professors or zombie scientists, because they contribute to the world body of knowledge with wrong findings. That is not science. That is that is wrong decisions. The wrong findings. So it makes the science worst. So that is one of the other reasons. But when we are publishing, including the librarians and the professors and all, we must be very careful about these things, because in very early days people didn't know what the predatory publications are. Many of the professors and the librarians may have climbed up the ladder by showing these kind of publications to the university, and they have been evaluated positively, and the people got positions too. But in Western world, these people are called zombie professors. But in Sri Lanka, still we are not that much of particular about the quality of the publications. Whatever we have given for evaluation are being evaluated and given marks. But I would like to let this audience know. Now the UGC is very much concerning about predatory publication and the quality of publication what we are publishing, because the publication avenues are very important for determining the quality of the professors, quality of the librarians. So now they are going to issue a circular to check all these things very particularly. And according to the new circular for the university lecturers as well as for the librarians, and they are going to ask index journals, at least the 20 people will contribute something important to this body of knowledge. That is one of the important thing. Other thing is some of the researchers, they do a lot of unethical practices. We do have the two kind of unethical practices. One is questionable research practices. Other one is fabrication. Fraud, data fraud. Some people gather information, and then they want to submit whatever they want to tell. That is not whatever they are generating from the data. Okay, that is, some sort of fabrication. It's cheating the scientific community. That is really unacceptable in the academic world, all around the world. And the second thing is, so suppose that I do have some sort of speculation that but according to the data, it doesn't support my speculation. But I want to show. I want to show the audience that my speculation is correct. So then they modify the data and publish. Some researchers, they don't do actually research. They they enter the data into the system and that generate research. That is that kind of fake research publications. And then some of the other researchers, they do plagiarism. And they are cheating, the others' papers, that kind of things. Sometime, if you are sending an article to a predatory journal, all of a sudden, one of the, unknown person will publish your article. That kind of things are happening. That is what actually, we are very much concerning about the quality of the research. And majority of the people, those who are doing this kind of academic fraud or the research fraud or questionable research practices, are sending their research papers to predatory publication because there is no peer review process. And whatever you have submitted, being asked a kind of article processing fee to be published in that particular journal. This that's why I'm telling this adversely affect the quality of scientific body, scientific knowledge. But especially the humanities and social sciences, we are not very much particular about this. But if this kind of things are happening in the this kind of things are happening in the biology or biology, agriculture, or the medicine, then what will happen? It will adversely affect the the humankind. It will adversely affect the the lives of the world. So that is that is why the people those who are publishing that kind of things are being called zombie professors. It's making zombification of the science. That is really unacceptable. And the other thing what I want to tell you over here, that sometimes the people are doing very misleading calculations. Majority of the journals, predatory journals, they are telling that they do have the high impact factor, IF. That is really fake. Impact factor comes only for the journals published in Clarivate and Analytics, ISI journals. But none of the other journals do have impact factors. That is wrong. Okay. Then the other good journals, if you don't have the enough time, enough the capability, or if your the research is not really worthful for publishing in high impact factor journal, then there's another avenue, that is the publications available in Scopus. Then people can easily publish in Scopus. But I'm not as a librarian, I'm not recommending anybody to publish in another areas, because another journals which have not been come under Scopus, either Scopus or ISI journals. Okay, at least the journal should be listed in Scopus. That is very, very important. Otherwise, one fine day you will be caught as a contributor to the zombies. That is one of the idea that I want to tell you as a librarian. And then the people, why do people are doing this kind of unethical practices? That is very important. The first thing is, according to our circulars and all, there is no provision for getting experience and climb up the ladder. The people, as soon as they are they become lecturers, they want to collect marks and climb up the ladder at a very early age. Maybe some of the professors we've seen, they are in very late 20s. That is the one of the motivation for doing that kind of the unacceptable things. The other thing is the publication pressure. Publication is important for all of us. Otherwise, if we don't have publications, we can't climb up the ladder. That is also wrong. But in most of the universities around the world, people, the lecturers or the librarians are not asked to publish as well as do teaching. Okay, the people, those who are good with teaching, they are doing the teaching. Their publication requirement is very less. But the people, those who are good with research, they are doing, the more research, but less teaching. But we don't have that kind of, a fairly distributed mechanism for us. That is, one of the other reasons. The other thing is actually the people don't have capability, and the people are very lazy. And most of the people, they don't have capability to do the research. Then whatever do they, they gather someone else's, research paper and modify the data and publish as their own. These kind of unacceptable things are happening. We should, particularly focus on those kind of things as librarians. We must have the capability to introducing the researchers, to bring in the researchers into the proper way, for giving them information, for helping them to, write their articles in, the good way, or for showing them, the good publication avenues. As you all, know, some time ago, majority of us, have published their research theses or the dissertations in Lambert publication. Lambert publication is a predatory publisher, and it's not accepted in any university in the world. But at least we didn't have that kind of awareness during that time. So now we know. So that is our duty to bring this the awareness, to bring this the knowledge, to disseminate this knowledge to the researchers as well as the academics, to to streamline the activities in the proper way. That is what we are doing. We are helping, and we are encouraging our academic staff as well as the librarians in the University of Kelaniya. So we think that within next 3-5 years, we will be able to make a big the significant difference, make a significant paradigm shift, okay, in the particular area, and in particularly publishing research articles in, or publishing the research in scholarly journals. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you very much, sir. Your talk was mainly appropriate at this time when we are considering new initiatives for expanding growth. And not only that, you are enlightening us with the UGC concern on publication, and also you clearly explain about the unethical practices in research and the publication pressure that we have. So I think it's very useful for the audience. Now we will move to the next speaker. Now I would like to invite Dr. Namali Suravira, Acting Director, ICCMS, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kelaniya, to share her opinion and views with us. Dr. Namali, it's over to you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Ravi Kumar, and thank you so much for the invitation as well to participate this event as a plenary speaker. And I would also like to thank Dr. Nayana and Dr. Chaminda, our early speakers, because they have discussed the scholarly publishing and the open access and everything together. So it will give me a good path for me to start from the maybe talk about kind of research visibility, because they have already talked about the scholarly publication and open access. So I would like to focus on the other key word in your conference, because there's a theme. So that theme include three keywords, and we have touched scholarly publishing, open access, and then the third one will be the research visibility. So I will focus on that. And I would like to also remind, because from early in the morning today, I mean, from the opening ceremony, we have heard lots of speech, keynote speech and everything. So they all have talked about the scholarly publishing and then all these three keywords. And then we have come across and then we have understood very informative things related to those areas. And based on that, I would like to summarize all these things according to my experience as well, because research visibility is again important with the quality of writing of the research product. Because whether we are writing for the scholarly publishing or whether we are submitting our articles to the open access journals and so on, if they are not predatory, so then we need to think about the research visibility. As an individual researcher, we should more think about our research visibility too. And here I would like to focus again, not from the senior researchers. I would like to actually focus on the early career researchers as well, because they are the one who just started their early career related to the research research. And there will be junior researchers and there will be senior researchers. Anyway, everybody needs to think about their own research visibility, because that will maximize the impact of their research output to the society, national development, and so on. Right? Okay, so with that brief introduction, I would like to start my talk on research visibility. First, I would like to talk about why we require the research visibility. During our keynote speech, Dr. Pradeepa Wijetunga has clearly explained all this stuff as well, but I would also like to remind some key points. The first one is, as a researcher, we need to make our research activity known. I mean, not only by myself. If I'm doing a research related to the information literacy or the e-learning or whatever, so my research community should understand that these particular scholar, particular researcher are well known for these areas. So that means we have already opened up our research visibility to the community. Right? So that's really important, because other scholars should identify the other research areas done by scholars in various aspects, maybe different librarians, different assistant librarians in Sri Lanka or internationally. So by looking at their name, then we should be able to understand which area those scholars are representing. So that because their research visibilities are okay. So even from the starting point, as an early career researcher, we can also do the same up to the seniority, right? And then the second one would be to increase the chance of publications getting cited. So as our two speakers already informed, when we complete our research project, right, not only just for the conference, because Dr. Chamita clearly said that there will be lots of research papers coming, like kind of ad hoc way, right? So they won't be following kind of good process of completing their research project, but it's not that what we expect. So we are expecting the quality research output. So if you are doing some sort of research for the academic purpose or your own interest, so then your research project should be read by other scholars as well. So without having a visibility, in these days, it's really important to talk about online research visibility, because you know that due to this pandemic situation and everything, we are not physically accessing libraries and information centers and so on. So it's really good to improve our online research visibility. And if we have some sort of experiences, or maybe if we have added our research output to the online environment, saying that I have completed this research project, this is my abstract, right? And if somebody needed, they can request maybe our full paper from us. If not, we can, if we agree, so then we can make visible our online full paper as well, right? Likewise, so we need to encourage other research community, our other scholars, to read our research output. Thereby, then we can actually inform what will be the future research areas coming through this research project and so on. So likewise, more and more, we need to give more research visibility online for the other community too. So then they will read about our research output, our conclusion, recommendation, and so on. They will start from next. Right? That's again our responsibility too as a researcher. And the third one will be, when we trying our best to make research visibility via online, it will again improve to correct our attribution, names, and affiliations too. You know that there will be the authors or researchers, they having the same surname, right? So for example, so I am normally Suravir. So my surname is Suravir. So in my same university, we have two Suraviras, right? Her one also N, my one also N. Then when we publish research article, so both research articles represent N Suravir. So then what will happen? So probably those 2 articles goes to my Google Scholar, or maybe those 2 articles goes to her one. But so that problem again can be minimized if we have some sort of research ID with us. For example, you know that ORCID ID. So I will talk about those things later on. So if we have such environment, then again, we will be recognized. We have the unique identification. So that will also inform that, because until we are not visible online, we may not be able to identify those issues, right? Those issues will be arrived when we are visible online. And the fourth one will be to increase the chances of new contacts for the research collaboration or research cooperation, right? So nowadays, I think Dr. Nayana and Chaminda will also agree with me. Nowadays, the research projects, if we are doing a research project with the collaborative perspective, right? For example, as a lecturer, as a librarian, or maybe not from the same university, maybe from different universities, if there is a collaborative research project, there is a good opportunity of publishing those articles in a quality peer-reviewed journal articles as well, because they know that there's a contribution is a lot more rather than doing the individual research project, right? So again, our research visibility should be perfect in order to understand our research interest and our research capabilities. That will again enhance our production, our popularity, and also the research output to get published in a very quality peer-reviewed journal articles. And the last one will be to increase the chances of funding to serve the society better. And I can remember that Dr. Vijay Sundara already informed that during her keynote speech, yes, we have to have the social responsibility. So as a scholar, as a librarian, we have to do a lot more, not only for our own career, but also for the society, for the development of the country, nation. So then there will be lots of research agencies, they are looking to give lots of grants to complete some of the research projects. So if we have that capacity, capability, and our online research visibility will impact again to get such grants to conduct quality research to the development of the society, to development of the nation, right? So this will be again major areas that we should need to think more why we should more publish our research articles via conferences or through the journals and so on. Why such online research visibility is important. Now again, I will quickly let you know what are the areas that you can focus on while you are focusing on the research visibility on online, right? So the first one will be, as I informed you earlier, so we can actually have an author disambiguation services. That means we should have our own unique researcher ID for us. So as an early career researcher, you can start your journey from now. So you can have your own research ID, right? Even junior or even senior, if you have not received your unique research ID, you can apply for that one. So there are some of the online tools available for this purpose. I would like to show that one. So the most famous one is ORCID ID. So if you are publishing our articles even in the index journal, so they actually asking our ORCID ID because they need to check, they need to cross check, and they need to have our own unique ID before we publish our article. And the second one will be, we can actually join with the research communities, right? So it's really important. So participating such conferences like this, it's also the research community, right? So we will be able to meet all the scholars from different aspects, different areas in the country, different libraries in the country, right? So this time we are meeting online, but when we have the access to the physical access, I mean, after this COVID-19 situation, probably we have the physical access and then we can talk to each other as well, right? So that research community is really important again to show our capabilities, capacities, and research outputs. So what are the tools available for this purpose? Actually, you can try maybe academia.edu. It's really famous. And maybe ResearchGate, you can have your own profile in your ResearchGate, and then you can publish your research articles over there. You can force other community, other similar sort of researchers to read your articles, right? And also there is a research community in Scopus, right? So you can also have an account over there, and then you can bring your quality output to that account, and then the other scholars will also search some of the key terms. Then your research will be also getting up to date, and then others will also read, not only from Sri Lanka, from everywhere, all over the country. And the third one, you can create and update your author profiles. I hope definitely you may have your author profiles right now, but if not, you can start on that. And for that purpose, you can use your Google Scholar account, right? You can have your Google Scholar account as an author profile, and you can update your research outputs over there. And there will be impact story, day ad. So there are different tools available. You don't need to try everything, but at least one. Try at least one. And there will be Kudos and also Figshare. So those two actually perform like the repositories. So even though we have the institutional repositories, I know that all the university libraries having their own e-repository as well. So if you want to contribute to that, that's also fine. And also if you want to contribute to the such kind of online available repositories, it's feel free to go for, right? Kudos and the Figshare is the kind of famous tool that we could use. And the other area I would like to focus is use kind of reference management. We know that there are a number of, but mentally has a different kind of aspects because it's come up with the social function as well. So we can follow up other researchers and so on. So if you are using that one, use for the research visibility too. And the other area is developing your personal site, personal websites maybe, right? And maybe link with your social media. So what are the examples? I know that when you use the social media, you will be better than me, right? So then you can use such practices to make or maybe publish yourself as a quality researcher, okay? So these are some of the examples again. So LinkedIn, you can have a LinkedIn profile, and there you can share your professional experiences, research experiences, what are the projects that you have carried out, and so on. And also you can have your own blogs, right? So you can upload the writing to there, and then you can have a quality question and answering sessions going on, carry out along with the blogs, right? There will be freely available blogs too. For example, research blogging, WordPress, so you can use any. And also, in order to develop your own site, so you can try even Google site. It's really simple, right? So you don't need to have a expertise ideas on developing your own website, but you can develop your website to publish your research or maybe improve your research visibility through that, okay? And maybe Facebook. So without passing some of the gossip, so we can use that Facebook as a main tool to promote our research output, right? So we can upload some of the documents, maybe we can give some of the links to read by somebody else, right? And the last thing that I want to highlight is then you will be able to measure your impact as well. Measuring impact of your research article. So if you have the very good online research visibility, that means lots of researchers, those who love to read your research area, then they will access your paper and read, and then maybe they cite, right? So then it will enhance your impact, your measuring impact, maybe your impact, your research outputs impact to the society, right? So for that purpose, actually, there is a Publons, you know that the Clarivate Web of Science has Publons. So they have that option to develop. and you can create your own Publon profile over there, and also your publications, citations, citation metrics, peer review, and also journal editing work. They all are in a one place. It's a really good area for us to practice, and it's visible for the other researchers all around the world, and it's really famous tool for measuring impact too, right? And even if you have the Google Scholar account or the ResearchGate account, still you can see the number of citations, H-index, and so on. So that's the good thing to start, and then make yourself more online presence, and thereby your research visibility will be improved a lot. So there are lots of maybe research interest, researchers can contact you and for further collaboration, right? So likewise, there will be lots of opportunity for you to practice if you have some sort of idea to getting yourself on online presence regarding your research projects and so on. I hope these information will be useful, and hope even early career researchers, juniors and seniors, we all can practice this practice in the same way in order to improve our online research visibility, because it's really important while we are publishing articles in the very reputed scholarly journals and open access journals, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Namali, for the excellent explanation on research visibility and its insights. And also you point out the issues came across using the author names and using unique author names. I think I can give a very good example because I came across this experience. There's a professional from India. His name is S. Ravikumar, and I am Ravikumar. Always his research will integrated in my Google Scholar. Similarly, my research will integrated in his Google Scholar. So finally, it is end up with a good good way, because now he started to communicate with me and we are working together. But I think this is a very important thing, using a unique name and using research IDs. And also you talk about creating the blog. That is very important. Throughout that also we can make our research visible to others. Okay, so without further delay, I think most of the participants are also delighted to talk with us. So I'm going to open the session for the participants. So participants can make their comments and they also can share their views. Please note, before sharing your ideas, please introduce yourself by giving your name. So now it's open to the participants. Dear participants, you can make your comments.
Yeah, let me open my comment covering all three veteran librarians in this field. It's when it comes to talking about academic integrity, it's always tightrope walking without offending anybody in the field. It's very hard to leave any comment. In this regard, I would like to say academia has also become a business. In a business, it's the competition is inevitable, and in the competition, always, people find a way to climb up the ladder, no matter what. So they might compromise, academic morality to achieve these things. So they would compromise integrity for getting money, monetary achievements, or fame, or maybe a position. So these things are playing, maybe it's a harsh and a bitter truth in this regard. So these are the competition for resources, like Dr. Jayasundar pointed out, in order to achieve positions or promotions, anything, we are blindfolded to pursue anything, which is not, moral in academic sense. So those kind of things, I'm not pointing anybody, but these promotional schemes should be revised in future courses, so that these practices should be curtailed. As he mentioned, in STEM field, I would say this kind of immoral practices would be a little bit narrower than in human arts and humanities, where you cannot measure, especially when the resources are in mostly published in local languages. We don't have any cross-checking measures, especially for instance anti-plagiarism tools like Turnitin. It doesn't go and check any individual books which is published in a remote corner of a village, because anybody can publish print a book in a funeral notice printers, and it is acceptable. Horribly, it's acceptable as a piece of evidence to get the professorship or any promotions. So maybe there's another practice. You can publish a book, just one copy. There are evidence. Just with one copy, you just go to your promotion scheme panel and you just produce, okay, this is my book, and boom, done. So who is going to check all these things? Of course, it's tedious and it's impractical in some sense. You cannot go behind each and every publication and check. Panelists don't have that kind of thing. So the mechanism cannot be coming from outside. This is what I want to insist on. It is also always a subjective matter. Everybody has to uplift or uphold the morality, the academic integrity in his or her endeavors. So this is what I would like to say. So I'm not sure how UGC might devise and come up with a tool to catch all these things, because it's very hard because unfortunately our research methodological tools are used only to measure which is seen. So these intrinsic characteristics cannot be measured by existing research methodological tools or any quantitative data analytics. So these are brought up only by the discourse analysis, which is mostly used in arts and humanities, social sciences. So I'm not sure how the thread would be woven through all these, the mechanisms, universities' autonomy, and some universities are not monitored by the apex body, which is UGC. So everybody is, a king in their own jungle. So I'm not sure. Predatory journals, shortly I call it a mushroom journals. It pops out and it disappeared next season once the point is achieved. For example, I need to achieve get some points. So I just start up a journal on my desktop, and once my goal is achieved, kaboom! I just shut down my office overnight, and I will disappear, and you don't know where I would have gone. So like this, these are things, and even editorial position should bear high moralistic values. Nobody should reveal the reviewers if it is a blind peer review. And I have seen some practices, editors connecting authors with the reviewers, and it's not a good practice of editorial committees. And these kind of things are, it's always intrinsic, and we should do that. Nobody else is coming to teach us. Otherwise, all these moral and ethical values will be present in religious texts and the documents of institutions, not yet hearts of academia. Thank you. Thank you for the chance.
Thank you, Ramanan. So, any others?
This is good afternoon, good evening to all. I am Mr. Alaratnam, Senior Lecturer in Eastern University, formerly Senior External Library in the KDU. So, thank you. Okay. Sorry that I am in wearing a t-shirt. Is it okay to? So, thank you very much. Three of them, that Dr. Nana Vijayasundara Madam and Dr. Vijayasundara Sir and Dr. Nama Liz Raviran Madam.
Mr. Alaratnam, we can hear you. Is there any technical difficulties? I think there may be a technical difficulty. So any others can comment. We can give chance to after that to Dr. Mr. Alaratnam. Any other participants want to share your ideas? Okay, if there is no anyone, we can conclude the session because already we have passed the exact time of closure. Is there anyone? Okay, then let me move to the conclusion session of this plenary session. Actually, we have discussed a lot of things from the morning to up to now. So I can highlight some of the points briefly. You know, the scholarly publishing has still been challenged for young academics for sharing their works in high impact journals. It is difficult to access all the reputed databases due to the high subscription rate. And the closed access journals are charging some article processing fee, as Dr. Pradeepa also mentioned that in her keynote speak, and which could be unaffordable sometimes for the authors. And also some universities also not ready to support for giving the article processing fee for the authors due to the budget cuts. Therefore, the open access has become at an advantage for the academic institution. Not only that, it is a relief for the academic writers, but at the same time, we have to be very careful about publishing on a correct platform. And most of the things are highlighted today. What are the things we need to consider when publishing our research, and how we can make our research visible to others. Especially, we have talked about using some new tools such as some altmetrics. That is very important because that will count all the sharings all over the social media networks and all. So that will give a real output of how far the research is reached the society rather than the normal citation. So with that information, I think we can conclude the session. So I would like to thank all the speakers of the session for spending their valuable time with us and also enlighten us with their knowledge and experience. And also, I like to thank all the participants for your kind patience and for your valuable contribution in this session. And also, I like to thank Dr. Mashruba, Secretary of the conference, and her team for organizing ICULA 2021 and for their hard work behind the screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.